Hey everyone, welcome to Coach on Command. My name is Arron Littleton, and I'm the head coach of the Gymnastics Sports Center Storm, two-time AGA champion, and your host for this hour of excitement and wonder. So as you can see, I've got this here with me tonight. It's an issue. I've got this here with me, and so I'm going to go down the panel and let them introduce themselves.
Coach Tracy, and I don't sleep. I just wait.
I apologize. It's my fault.
What are you waiting for?
Morning.
That's very interesting. So they say that hard work beats talent if talent doesn't work hard. So effort, hustle, a sense of urgency wins. And so who wants it more, right? And in this sport, you see it every day. There are some kids who are naturally gifted, and because of that natural gift, they don't feel the need to work very hard. And then you also see kids who are less talented, but they work their hardest every day. And you can generally scope out who is who. And so tonight we're going to talk about effort. And so first question, gentlemen, what role do you think effort has to play in the success of an individual athlete in this sport?
I think it plays a pretty big role. You don't become great by just thinking about it really hard. And like you said earlier, there are some athletes who are naturally gifted and they're going to be good at it. But I see them get passed by students who work hard constantly, like every single day. So working hard, putting effort forth is one of the most important things that an athlete can do in their career.
I gotta agree. Effort is the single largest factor, in my opinion, of someone's success. Everyone has, different talent levels, but you can overcome poor talent with hard work. It's not an opinion at this point. It's just a fact. It's been proven over and over again. And the term is, practice makes perfect, not the perfect don't practice, because anyone who's out there trying to be perfect is definitely grinding to achieve that. There's been countless scenarios of this in the gym, real world, and even in the cinema. Anyways, like Rocky 3, at the start of the movie, he loses because he lost the edge. He wasn't hungry for the victory anymore, so he stopped practicing as fully as he could. And that whole movie is about him regaining that want to win and then practicing hard enough to do it. It's true in the real world too.
I think I think that's interesting because obviously going from challenger to champion is interesting, and that's essentially, what you're talking about. There are different phases of your career. And, for us, I just remember before we became champions, I was just like, we got to do this. Like, this is like, I will, as Kaegan said in one of our earlier episodes, I will die on this hill, like I will die on all of these hills trying to get this trophy. It's like, that's, and so that's not what I planned to talk about, but you said, you talking about Rocky really made me think. And then obviously, once you get it, it's easy to experience a little bit of a letdown in intensity. But I think that, what you're saying, is trying to regain it and finding the will within you to continue to compete is something that's real. And that's something that I've experienced, and I see it in my girls too. I think that to the question now, I think that effort has a huge role to play. I think that you can fake it for a little while. If you've got a ton of talent and you're just so good that you can, maybe you're not working hard in the gym, if we're talking about competition gymnastics, and then you go to a meet and then all of a sudden, maybe you can turn it on that one time. Maybe you can turn it on and be like, all right, ta-da, I can stay on this beam one time and one time only, but I'm not really working on it. And I see that sometimes with our girls, they don't necessarily want to work on all the skills. I'm like, we're not just doing a magic trick here. It's like, if you're going to compete this, you're going to work it. It's like, you're not going to just not work it and show up and be like, well, let's see. I mean, that's not a good way to go about anything in the sport. So yeah, you can fake it for a little while, but I think that it'll eventually catch up with you. And what will happen when that does is you'll eventually start to stop progressing. Like you won't get any better, you'll stagnate, and then with that comes being frustrated. And so these skills, and as you get higher up the ranks, obviously, are exceptionally harder than the skills below them. And so, like I said, you can only fake it for so long. If that's what you're trying to do, if you're trying to show up and not work very hard, that kind of thing will catch up with you, and it will probably be at the least opportune time for you, and and lack of effort will definitely shine through eventually. And so I would say, try not to be a low effort person. Second question tonight. Tracy, how do you know who is working the hardest in your class?
There are some kids in my class that have never asked me, can I try that one more time? Can I do that again? Hey, I know we're going to play a game right quick, but can I go practice this one skill instead? There's a couple kids in my class that have never, ever asked me anything like that. But the ones that do definitely stand out. Not just in the fact that, they're asking a question like this is unusual, but also their skill level. You can see that their skill level increases faster relative to some of the other kids that don't do that. I've had some kids that have plateaued, and I'm certain that's because they come here because mom and dad says, you have to go to this class. It will help you overcome whatever obstacle. Anyways, that's very easy to tell. But also there is, and I found myself realizing this as I've been coaching, there's a difference between a kid that says, watch me do this trick, versus, hey, can you observe what I'm doing here? Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Tell me what I'm doing right. Not just watch me do the thing. Help me fix it so that it's better. There's a big difference in when a kid asks, watch me, versus, hey, study this. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. How can I fix this? And I think those, for me, are the two easiest ways that stands out.
And I think to your point there that, I think there's a definite difference between the, hey, watch me kid and, the kid that actually wants to fix what they're doing. And, I had never really considered it. And that's why I love the show is because, you have experiences that I don't have. And you think about things in ways that I haven't thought about, and vice versa and all that. And, it really takes a level of maturity, I think, and I think that that's the difference between those two kids. One kid just wants attention and watch me do all of this, and the other kid actually says, hey, I'm not just here to be a sideshow. It's like, I want to actually progress and get better at this. And I think that the difference between those two kids is a level of maturity. And so, and one would say mindset, and how you're trying to develop.
It's not an age difference. It's a mindset difference.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
This, for me, was a very difficult question because different kids, well, obviously are different. They do things differently, they act differently, they hold themselves differently. But the main thing I notice with those who are working hard genuinely really want to be there. They show up as much as possible unless they physically can't. They show up, they work hard, they get stuff done, and they do it well with no hesitation. Well, sometimes there's a little hesitation because they're scared, but that's an obvious hesitation.
And so earlier, and this was kind of the genesis of the topic of this episode for me is, I was talking to one of my gymnasts, and we've got a meet this weekend, and meet week, anybody who runs a competitive program, meet week is a particularly tumultuous time. You're trying to fix the little things, you're trying to, stress is a good word for it, but you're trying to really fix the most minute detail, because that's what you're going to be judged by, is the most minute detail. It's like winning and losing, or moving up or not moving up, or hitting your goals or not is it's a matter of a fraction of a point. It's a matter of a tenth here, 2 tenths here. I had a girl who missed moving up to a crazy hard level by 2 tenths the other day. And so, it's like, and so meet week is a very arduous week, and you're trying to get all of this in before the meet. And so I was talking to this girl, and she says to me, I told her, I was like, hey, we really got to tighten up our turn, and our arms are kind of saggy when we're doing our turn, and our dance is not very good. It's really kind of lackluster today. And she says to me, oh, well, I'll do it at the meet. And I said to her, I was like, you practice, you play how you practice. And so if you're like, when it comes time, when the lights are the brightest, I'll just remember to do this, even though I've never done it. It's like, that's not normally the way this sport works. Again, I said earlier about sometimes you have kids who can turn it on, who can be like, they're they seek the spotlight or whatever.
They got lucky.
Yeah. or that, I have had some gymnasts before who really did their best work under pressure, and so that can be a real thing. But yeah, definitely luck has a part to play in it. You've got one shot to do it. And so that story really kind of stuck with me. Oh, I'll just do it at the meet. And it's like, bet you won't. And so it's you're trying to develop not only skills and a way of doing skills, but a way of thinking about your business as well. But I think to the question, how do you know who is working the hardest in your class? And that is that you can see it. I think it's actually fairly obvious, and because you can tell who has the intensity and who has a desire to get better. And even more than that, okay, those two things are great. Who is a self-motivator? And that one is really who does not need me to come in, I'm saying this for you too. who does not need me to come and very figuratively kick them in the pants? Who does not need me to come and get on them about what they're supposed to be doing? Who knows it already without me saying it, and they can show up and get it done because they want to. Those are your high effort kids. Those are the ones who really want to be in the gym. And, I really think that that's a real thing, and you can just watch it happen, while they're in the gym. And I think that a lot of low effort students will just go through the motions instead of really having a fire lit under them. I think they'll just go through it, and you see it in gymnastics all the time. Oh, I do my turns with my arms like this. I'm never tight. I'm never as tall as I should be. I'm not really, it doesn't really matter. I throw my arms around. I look like a ragdoll. I was gonna say a wacky waving inflatable tube man in front of a car lot, whatever. So you can tell the difference between those two kids. And some kids, like I said earlier, are not as physically gifted. That's not to say that they're not gifted. I mean, certainly, but you can really tell the kids that really are about it. And so that's kind of a easy one to spot, I think. And so obviously you have the kids, super high energy, super high effort, but then you have the ones that are not. And so what is the way that you're trying to encourage a lower effort student to show more work ethic?
Set expectations. A lot of times, a lot of people don't have very expectations set upon them except the bare minimum. And this sport most sports are very not bare minimum. You have to put effort forth, as the entire podcast, what we're saying, obviously. But just expecting someone to do something can do a lot sometimes.
So honestly, this is kind of a tough question to answer. Obviously, it's case-by-case basis. But one thing that I found that doesn't work 100% of the time, but has a large percentage success rate for me is, if there's something that they need to be doing, but they don't want to do it, find something that they do want to do. Challenge them with different tasks until you find something that genuinely interests them. And maybe that's not necessarily skill specific. Maybe it's something fun. And then withhold that from them until they've completed their work. Sounds mean, but people like incentives and say, hey, maybe we can do this thing that I know that you enjoy, but first we have to get through this thing that you need that you don't enjoy.
Like standing in line at the DMV. Yeah, absolutely.
I need my license, but I got to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, no, I I completely agree with that, yeah. And I've got some kids, and it's like they don't want to do the skill they're supposed to do, but they want to do the skill after that because some of their teammates are doing that skill, and they're like, man, I don't care at all about this that will set the foundation for me to be successful up here. But no, I just want to do this, and it's the shiny new toy. And I'm just like, listen, no, we are in the mud right now. We are not on the hill. We are, and it's like we got to grind this out. And so sometimes you can do that and kind of use that as leverage. That sounds like a bad word, but yeah, you can kind of leverage their interest in that to motivate them to get there.
I hate the term manipulation, but sometimes you really have to manipulate things in your favor if you want kids to work as hard as they're capable.
No, absolutely. And I think that, that doesn't just go for kids. That goes for coaches. That goes for parents. That goes for everybody. Yeah. And so in some ways, you've got to be a little bit of a puppet master behind the scenes and, put stuff in place the way that you want it. And so, we're talking about, motivating kids to get where you want them to go, to show the effort that that they can show. And the number one thing that I said is that, we've talked a lot about motivation and that everybody is motivated by something. And so, you just got to find it. What is the thing that motivates them? And if it is, we want to get to this next skill, we don't want to be left behind by all of our friends, and we need to get up here. And it's like, that thing can absolutely work. It can absolutely work. And I think that if you use that in your favor as a coach, that's a pretty pro move, and everybody gets what they want. That kid gets to work on that skill once they have adequately done what you've asked, and you've got them through this. So everybody wins. What's the harm, Yeah. And so yeah, there's definitely that. You got to find the motivation, but also I think I'm a little bit different as far as coaches are concerned, and maybe I'm this way as a person too. But most coaches will only go so far. For me, if you're willing to put in the work, I'm willing to work as hard as you are. And so if you really have a goal and you want to get there by the end of the season, by the middle of the season or whatever, we've got a goal and you want to come in and work, you want to come in early, I'll be here early. If you want to come in late, if you want to stay late, I'll be here late. And that's just me. It's like, because for me, I do this because I want to put on a great program and I want the kids in it to excel. And, not all coaches are like that, but I'll be here. If you decide that you want to do a workout Sunday at 2 a.m. on the moon, I'll be there, man. Let's
go.
let me grab this moon suit and let's get this done. I hear there's zero gravity there. I bet your back tuck looks real good there. But yeah, and so that's for me. It's like, if you're willing to put in the work, I'm willing to put in the work. And so motivation is a big part of that. And then obviously some kids, it's like you're trying something, it doesn't really work. But the thing is, it's like, you've got to keep trying, because eventually, you were talking about trying different things. And yeah, it's like, keep trying, get creative, don't give up. Eventually if the kid is so disinterested, they'll just quit. But while they're in your class, that's another opportunity for you to try something else and try to expand your horizons as a coach. Because I've always thought the kids that don't want to try, the kids that are the hardest to work with, make me as much better of a coach as I can be in one sitting. They just make you a better coach, because you've got to, if everybody was the same, you're like, do this, and it just works all the time. It's like, you do not have to expand your horizons. You don't have to find another way to skin a cat, so to speak. And, you have these kids that are unconventional. We'll say that are unconventional, and they don't follow the same patterns as everybody else. And so those kids are kind of your way to break the monotony for you as a coach and be able to figure out a solution that you would have not otherwise been pushed to figure out. But at the end of the day, ultimately, you can't care for someone else. So if they really don't care, and they decide to leave, there's not a lot you can do about that.
Yeah, you can't make someone care. And it's not worth your effort to try beyond a certain point.
This is true. Here we find ourselves at the randomly strong opinion of the day. We're going to do top 5 one more time, because that's super fun. And so this time we have done top 5 animals.
Number 5 is cats. Well, okay, I own a cat. She's amazing, and I love her, and she is absolutely insane. Her name is Mimolette. She is orange. Mimolette is a type of cheese that is bright orange, and I love her, and she's great. Number 4, I was gonna say Mudkip, but Arron put some limitations, so now I'm gonna say Axolotl because that's what he is, and they're just cool looking and they're funky. Number 3 is a pet rock. Number 2 is salmon, and I find salmon very amusing because they're obviously fish, but like their heads look weird and it looks like they're like dinosaurs, and they're cool looking. And my favorite animal has to be the Muppet. That doesn't need any explanation. And that's how it's staying.
I'm going to go top down. Number 1 has to be the ferret. So 1 by itself can be a lot of fun, but watching 2 play together, the way that they frolic and play fight, it's very, very amusing. I love them. Whenever I was a kid, my family used to have 2, and my door to my bedroom had just a small gap at the bottom, just small enough that they could just slide right underneath this door. So a lot of times I would wake up with them pouncing on me or licking my ears or whatever the case may be. They're funny creatures, and I very much enjoy them. Most people say that they can't stand the way a ferret smells, and I agree if you don't bathe them regularly. I'm kind of fond of the scent if it's very, very minor, but it does get strong if you don't bathe them. Number 2, dog, man's best friend. I've had some great dogs in my life, and I wouldn't trade them for anything. I remember playing video games as a kid. My mom's dog would come and lay her head on my lap and just watch me play video games. What a great pup. Cat, number 3. Some cats are not very nice cats, but some cats can be really, really cool. And my buddy Cheshire, I didn't name him, but he became my cat after a little while. Anyways, he knew when it was bedtime. He'd meow at me. If I went and laid down, he'd come stand on my chest, headbutt me in the head, then lay down and go to sleep on my shoulder. You know, cats it's not really a headbutt. It kind of is, but really what they're trying to do is rub their scent on you to mark you as theirs. But anyways, it's a sign of affection. Number 4, I remember the first time I saw an actual roadrunner. I thought that would be a lot taller.
The bug's back. Oh, what?
He assaulted me.
He was trying to be your friend. He's back. Okay, I'm done.
Okay. I saw, the cartoons with Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner. I really thought that Roadrunners were going to be taller. And then I saw that they were not that tall. And I immediately thought, bet I could outrun that thing. I was wrong. Okay, they're fast. They are actually quite fast. I could not outrun one. Number 5, excuse me. I'm going to go with an octopus. And the reason I say that is because I was in Japan and we were walking past this really tall building, and there was a random little doorway that went down into the basement and then to the right into a ramen shop. So went to have dinner down there. And while I was down there, there's this Japanese gentleman that was getting his dinner, and I'm just kind of watching him to kind of see what he's doing because I've never eaten here before, and he's grabbing stuff off the shelf. I'm kind of curious, and he notices me watching him what he's doing, and he comes over, and between my bad Japanese and his bad English, we had a great conversation with each other. And he was asking me, he's showing me, oh, you can put this in your ramen. It's made to go in. And he's asked, hey, have you tried this? Have you tried that? And he brought over an octopus, like tentacle. And I thought, that looks so bizarre. But he asked if I'd tried it. And I said, no. So he cut me off a piece of his octopus, and I tried it. It was actually really, really good. I was kind of shocked.
Not kosher.
Little chewy, but delicious. And I don't know. So I thought that was a great story. Making friends with Jeff the random bro in Japan.
It's Jeff Son. I'll have you know. So here we go. Okay, so randomly strong opinion. I'm going to go bottom up. And so number 5 is the capybara, and just solely because I think you were talking about ferrets. Okay, I didn't even know what a capybara was until all of these videos online started surfacing of pelicans trying to eat a capybara. And so I told them, early on in the podcast, I was like, one of these times we have to say, as the sign off, please stay tuned for a pelican trying to eat a capybara. And we got the video, episode 5. It's fantastic if you want to see it. But yeah, watching capybaras be completely unconcerned that there is a malicious other animal trying to eat them. And I mean, they're just big and fluffy, and this pelican is like trying to eat it. And they're just like, I mean, they,
yes,
yes,
most indubitably.
Yes, it's like, man, thank you for the free massage because a pelican cannot eat a capybara.
Did you know capybaras are rodents?
Yes.
So they're just essentially big rat.
Yes, and that's even funnier because they're just chilling. 5 is capybara. Number 4 is I originally had giraffe, but I was gonna change it to monkey. That's not 6. I'm just telling you. Calm down. Calm down, Tracy.
I will cut you.
But yeah, monkeys are awesome, and
Does it remind you of home?
Does a monkey remind me of home?
Because he lives in this zoo here?
I'm trying to figure out what the context of this question is. It's just a really bad and mis-set up joke. Okay, anyway.
Take it as you will.
I'm going to forget it. I will, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to forget. So, yeah, they swing from trees. They're also super smart. I saw a video of monkeys reacting to their own reflection in a mirror the other day. That's awesome. They also seem pretty chill unless you make them angry and then they try to kill you. That part's not super optimal. But also, as we said in a previous episode, Tracy, the utility is there.
The utility. I'm telling you, it's unstoppable.
All right, and so number 3, number 3 is horse. Horses for a very specific reason, and they are majestic and they are fast, and their mane is.
And the utility is there.
Yes, the utility is definitely there for horses as well. You can ride them. I was just super happy when in Assassin's Creed your horse could swim because it's like you would ride them to like the edge of the brook and then just dump you off. And I was like, bro, that's not even cool. So anyway, yeah. So thank you, Ubisoft, for making horses be able to swim. That
We're not coming after you.
that makes my that makes my life much easier when I'm trying to very lazily travel across the map to whatever, and so I don't have to get out and swim and then call my horse on the other side. So thank you, I appreciate that. But the reason they are number 3 and not higher is because my cousins have a farm on top of the biggest biggest mountain hill in Bear Track, Kentucky. And does that not sound like a Kentucky place to you, Bear Track, Kentucky?
It sounds like Kentucky, but I'm upset that it does.
Yeah, and so anyway, you have to go up this mountain. Well, we went to go visit them, and there I rode very briefly because I was bucked off of a Shetland pony.
Is there video?
No, I was like 12 years old. Yeah, and so ever since it, so I like horses, but Shetland ponies, not a thing. Number 2 are dogs. And so we've got a match, but not only that, like a number match too. Like you had dogs as 2 and I've got dogs as 2. Fantastic. So yeah, pure energy, joy. I haven't had a dog in a while, but they are awesome, loyal. They are fiercely friendly. Most of them. Some of them try to kill you. That's a little bit different. But yeah. So dogs are awesome. But number 1. That is my one-hand drum roll. I don't think that's effective. Oh, that was much better. Tracy beat me with a drum roll. Okay. Number 1 is cows. Cow is my favorite animal. Has always been my favorite animal.
Got milk?
No, cow has always been my favorite animal. Number 1, because my lifelong dream growing up in Wichita Falls, Texas, in traveling through the surrounding, pastures and farmland was all I wanted to do. Like basically through high school, my life goal was to go cow tipping and tip over a cow. And then I heard that you cannot do that, but that does not stop me from wanting to do it. I told my mom very early on in my life that I was going to buy a cow so I could go outside and tip it whenever I wanted to. I'm like, that cow is gonna like gore you or something. It's gonna run away.
For legal reasons, Arron has never done this.
No, Arron has never done it.
He's just wanted to.
Yes, right. It just seemed like a fun thing to do. And also the thing about cows too, aside from tipping, the utility is there because because they are also very delicious.
Yeah, you get your milk from them or a burger.
Yeah. So yeah, cows are fantastic. They're awesome. And so you know what? I haven't played in a while, Hogwarts Legacy, and one of the best parts of Hogwarts Legacy is not any of the magic stuff. Well, I guess it is technically magic, but there's a lot of farmland around like Hogsmeade and stuff that you can go to, and there are just these cows, and you could just like Wingardium Leviosa and roll them down the hill, like. And I feel like if I was a student at Hogwarts, that's 100% what I would be doing all day. Like I would not be studying. Are you kidding me?
For legal reasons, we do not condone animal abuse, even if it is fictional
or hilarious.
So yeah, if you're enjoying this podcast as much as we are, then please go ahead, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, whatever the thing is. You know, do the thing. And so we have an email, guyscoc@yahoo.com. So thank you very much for hanging out with us. Please stay tuned for German pretzel cutting championships.
Have a flipping great day.
And don't forget to set. Take care.